Hello again, everybody. It is the coach. You're tuned in to Madden 19 on EA Sports. Straight ahead, we've got what should be a good one between the Miami Dolphins and the Minnesota Vikings. I'll have scores around the league for you at the half, but it's time for a little football. So we'll hand it over to our broadcast team, Brandon Godden and Charles Davis.
And we find ourselves at the stadium that played host to Super Bowl 52, the wondrous U.S. Bank Stadium in Minneapolis. It can certainly get loud inside this building, and just a few moments ago when the Vikings were introduced, it was downright shaking in here. They're set for football as the Vikings get ready to do battle with the Miami Dolphins. Hi again, everyone. Brandon Gaudin alongside Charles Davis. And Charles, you look at this Vikings ball club. Now, losers their last time out, so they'll look to make amends here.
And one of the best ways you can do that is to be at home, and they are. They're going to try and ride that home crowd and that wave of emotion to a victory in this one.
Meanwhile, for our visitors, the Dolphins, they are hot as can be, winners of 8 of their last 9 games.
I don't know if you'd call this start a surprise exactly, but they've proven that they're going to be able to stand toe-to-toe with anybody.
It's the final 3 weeks of the season. Still plenty to play for here as we're underway in Week 15. Fielded about a yard deep. And it's a pretty good return here as he'll get it up to the 29-yard line. Throwing now, Taylor on first down. Steps away to it, and he's going to have to eat this one as down he goes. Danielle Hunter able to get in there and drop him for a 2-yard loss.
It may be cliche, but it is something that holds up over time, doesn't it? If you're the visitors, you don't want to let the crowd in the game early.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they did there. But you said also this defense, they're going to give them a lot of looks like we just saw there, aren't they?
They certainly are. They're a proud unit, and they're going to ride the momentum of this crowd with them, and that's why they got after them early.
On second down, Taylor's throw incomplete. The Miami Dolphins starting lineup now, and Kenyon Drake, a guy to watch.
He has the ability to affect the game in so many different ways. In the return game, bringing it back himself. Also can be a gunner on the punt coverage team and did that very well at Alabama. But has the ability to run the ball in the backfield as well as catch it. Kenyon Drake, you can use him so many different ways.
On third down, Taylor. This is brought in by Hardy. And he'll have it past midfield almost to the 40 before being taken down. A big gain of 31 on third down.
Well, partner, I'm not sure how this drive's going to end, but how about the way they flip field position there? A nice attacking play that picked up a heck of a chunk of yardage.
They'll run with a backup. This is Williams. They're able to push forward for about 4 down to the 37. And a look at the Vikings defensive unit.
Think of this secondary as Harrison Smith, who was oddly named an All-Pro safety in 2017, but just a Pro Bowl alternate who later did play in the game and had a pick 6. Metrics, they graded him out as the game's top safety in 2017. I call him the fixer. Wherever they need him on defense, they place him. Near the line of scrimmage, back deep, he makes plays.
Now Taylor to throw on second down. Looking downfield. He rifles one that's intercepted. Picked up by Mike Hughes. And he'll return it to the 24-yard line. Certainly not how they envisioned ending their opening drive here in the first quarter.
Too many ones in this play. First quarter, first drive, first interception thrown.
And that last one, that hurts. Following the interception, Cousins. And his first pass is incomplete.
Had an open man that time, but ended up putting a little too much heat on it, don't you think, partner?
Absolutely. Just needed a touch more air under it. Instead, he fired an absolute bullet. From the 24, they'll go again on 2nd and 10. Play fake. Cousins. And he's got the hook up here. It's Kyle Rudolph. And they nearly get this all the way to midfield. Mark him down at the 49. A really nice gain of 25 yards.
They've got good playmakers on the offensive side of the ball. I don't know what happened last week to really hurt their performance and hold down their production, but I would dare say that this week in practice, there's a lot of talk about how they're going to increase their proficiency.
Yeah, that was a good start getting the playmakers involved. You mentioned that to me pregame. That's what they did there.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think the coaching staff really gets on them, and that's how they motivate them. Most of these guys are self-motivated. They have a lot of pride in their performance.
Now Cousins. Now the hit comes, and Cousins lost the football.
On plays like this, when the ball comes free, it's often unusual for the team that lost it to get it back. Because this is the quarterback. The ball gets away from him. Everyone else is trying to execute what they're supposed to do on offense. They're usually looking in the other direction, downfield, or have moved away from him. In this case, though, a teammate is able to come up with the ball.
Cameron Wake in there to get him, and that's sack number 6 for him on the year.
Brandon, what I remember most about playing with guys who knew how to rush the passer, they would just tell you, just cover people for me, just long enough for me to get there. And that's exactly what happened on that play.
Nice job bringing that one back. 14 on the return, and it'll be Dolphin football. So the Dolphins offense heading out as we give you a look at the playoff race in the AFC. As we take a look at the playoff picture, and certainly a lot of jostling still to go in these final few weeks. For the moment, they would be a wild card team, far from locked up, but that's why this is exciting. These last few weeks, a lot to play for.
Yeah, exciting for us because we get to talk about it, and, you know, at the end of the day, 6 teams are going to go from each conference, and guess what? We're going to have the playoffs. But nerve-wracking for all the people involved, all the teams, because their goal is to get there. And anything less than that makes the season a disappointment. So they've got to be primed now for a big finish to their season.
A first carry for Kenyon Drake. And he is met in his tracks behind the line of scrimmage. A loss of a full 3 yards, and now it's 2nd down. Good opening quarter for him. Remember, he had the sack earlier. Now a tackle for loss, another tackle for loss.
He's really making it tough on the play caller, though, isn't he? Because it's one thing to try and adjust when a guy's disrupting your running game. But when he's messing up your passing game as well, they may have to devote at least a second guy to him to try and keep him away from their plays. Defensively here, you're facing a top 5 team in terms of points scored in the NFL. So when they're that high-powered, you've got to find a way to hold them under 20, because to me, that's the magic number. 20 points scored, you give yourself your best chance to win.
So if they're up around 24, 28, 30, they could be in some trouble.
And I think so, because then you turn it into a shootout, and that means your offense has to keep pace.
And he takes this one down almost all the way to the 30. Taylor able to use those legs of his to pick up a first.
That's something you have to be aware of as a defense and have to find a way to account for him. And if you're not going to use a spy, you're telling your guys to keep your eyes on him, because when he breaks out and makes plays like that, all it does is hurt you.
Have to at least be able to contain him somewhat. There they could not. Looking deep for Julio. And it drops down incomplete. Thought he might have had it. Instead, 2nd down.
But one thing's for sure, when you get a big receiver and you trust him downfield, you're going to give him opportunities to go up and get that 50-50 ball.
And he is a darn good big receiver. Unfortunately, that time didn't work out. Nice job defensively. And incomplete there. A nice hit. Jars the ball free and brings up 3rd down.
Yeah, it certainly appears that they're going to try and keep getting him the football. That's the 3rd time they've looked in his direction. Unfortunately, haven't completed one yet, but I'm not sure they're going to shy away from it. They feel like they've got something there, and they want to capitalize on it.
I think you're right. We're only in the 1st quarter, so a lot of opportunities ahead. Now yet another incompletion here as they fail to connect on 3rd.
As my dad used to tell me all the time, when you're getting ready to play a big-time game, especially when you have one going into a dome setting, better strap it up tight, because that crowd can really affect things.
Especially on 3rd downs like the one we just saw there with the incompletion. Sanders' kick is good. And the Dolphins will jump out to a 3-0 lead. So chalk that down as an 8-play drive capped with a field goal.
Yeah, as a friend of mine used to say, they were moving and grooving for a while, but they couldn't keep the momentum going enough to get a touchdown out of it.
This is taken about 7 yards deep. And no run back here. This will be a touchback, and it comes out to the 25-yard line. Cousins and the Vikings with a 1st and 10 at their 25-yard line. Here's Cook as they begin on the ground. And he'll take this up near the 35, maybe the 34. There are the numbers for Cook from a week ago. 15 carries, 66 yards.
Well, watching the film, we saw that things clicked pretty well for them in the running game last week. No reason to change in my mind. Continue to try and run the football, give it to them early and often in hopes of breaking down the defense so some bigger gains result as the game goes on.
And they'll get this well past midfield before being stopped just before the 35. All told, it's an even 30 and a 1st down.
I love football lingo and the evolution of it all. Nickel defense makes sense, right? 5 defensive backs. But then you go to 6. What are you going to call that? And they call it a
double it.
A dime, which is just very simple for them. The math doesn't add up. But I know one thing. Offenses love to run against dime defenses. Typically, the bigger guys have an advantage against the smaller defensive backs when they're blocking downfield.
Yeah, we saw that advantage right there. They'll try again from the 36 on 2nd and 10. Now a first carry for their fullback. Fighting his way down to about the 35-yard line. Only a yard on the pickup there, so it leaves them needing a conversion here on 3rd and a tough 9. Got to get to the 26 for a first. This is 3rd down. Working out of the gun, Cousins. Open man is Thielen. It's complete. And he will score. Touchdown, Vikings. Adam Thielen, his 4th touchdown on the year. And the Vikings have taken a first-quarter lead. Extra point by Carlson, up and good. And that makes it a 7-3 lead. That time, 75-yard drive, 5 plays. And it all culminates in a touchdown for Minnesota. This fielded a few yards into the end zone. And a good return as he'll be stopped just shy of the 30-yard line. Then the Dolphins getting set to go here. And after the field goal last time, we'll see what they can get here. At least they got points out of the last drive, Charles.
I never met an offensive coach that didn't want to drive to end with a kick. Most of them wanted to end with a PAT, right? In this case, a field goal, they'll take it. Way better than the alternative, which is a punt.
Yeah, but you've met fan bases that wanted that. They weren't happy with that field goal.
I haven't met a fan base yet that wants to drive to end with a kick other than the extra point. That's it. I know at times people think we use it too often, but you've got to be able to throw guys open. And when you read zone, you've got to stick it in there before your receiver gets to the next guy in the zone. Otherwise, you bring him into the play.
And that's precisely what allowed that defense to disrupt the pass. And he'll be brought down right at the 30 here. Now a stoppage here as it looks like we've got a Dolphins shaken up on the play. While the training staff takes a peek, we'll take a break. The Dolphins on 3rd down. They've been okay, 2 for 3 thus far. This is 3rd and 9. Now Manning. To Shepard, complete over the middle. And they get him down, but not before he takes it across the 40-yard line. 11 yards there as they connect on the quick slant. Those are the kinds of plays right there that show you why he's the number 3 man in the NFL in terms of receiving yards.
Also tells you there's a full combination of what he's got going in his game. You name it, from route running to catching the football. That's why he's able to produce those types of numbers.
Escaping the pressure right. A hit as he throws there, incomplete.
They're bringing a lot of pressure here already in the first quarter. Already sacked him once. Now they get in there and knock another one away. You think maybe that Tucker rule being gone makes defenses a lot bolder?
Yes, indeed. That time, lucky that the arm was going forward. Incomplete pass. He completes it to Julio Jones. And they'll get this well past midfield before being stopped just before the 35. A good pickup there of 22. Late in the season now, MVP chatter starts, and he might be on the fringe. This is always an award that goes quarterback or running back. Usually quarterback. This offense finding its legs now. Here's another 1st and 10. On 1st down, Drake. And he'll get 3 down to the 34-yard line.
What's the old expression, 3 yards in a cloud of dust? In this case, it's dust-covered pellets. It's no longer that old grass that we used to play on, right, and chew it up. Now we've got that artificial surface. You see the pellets go up. Still a nice play by the defense.
On 2nd down, here's Manning. Over the middle, complete. That's Shepard. And inside the 20 before he's brought down. The Dolphin passing game rolling here. They've got another 1st down. And now the passing game here in the 2nd quarter starting to heat up a little bit.
Don't you feel the rhythm starting to happen, right? You see it now. The confidence is starting to rise. I think now as a play caller, because that has happened, you lean on it a little bit more. You don't go totally away from running the football, but you do say, guess what? We can throw.
Nowhere to escape, and he goes down. Emerson Griffin. He's the one to get him, and that's sack number 7 for him on the year.
I think you saw the same thing that I did there, partner. Remember, he's their backup quarterback, so the last thing they need is to lose another one right here on the sack. Looks like he's going to be okay, though.
Yeah, he looked like he was favoring something in the left leg. Appears to be fine now, but you're right. That O-line, they got to protect it. After the sack, it's 2nd and 19, and the road gets a bit tougher from here. To throw, it's Manning. Under pressure again, and down he goes again. Sheldon Richardson in there to drop him for his 5th sack of the year.
I'm starting to feel for that quarterback back there. I mean, you know me. Normally, don't have a lot of empathy for the QB, right? In this case, definitely. He's been on constant duress this entire game. I don't know how he's surviving back there.
And to think, there's still a long way to go in this football game. Meanwhile, on 3rd down, they take a shot at the end zone, but it's incomplete.
Well, he'd been targeted quite a bit on this drive, and finally, I think the guys on the defensive side, they said no more. They slapped the double coverage on him, made it very tough for him to get the ball.
He's going to look deep down the field, and that is going to be incomplete. The Dolphins can't convert on 4th down, and the Vikings defense is going to get the football back. So the defense has to stay out and get one more stop. They were able to do it, forcing the incompletion.
So on their record, that goes down as a successful play. Doesn't matter how they got there, how it happened. They got it done. They're the ones that are jubilant.
That's going to go as a loss of a yard, and it'll be 2nd down.
An interesting and intriguing decision there defensively because they kept extra DBs on the field despite seeing the multiple tight end look that came out for the offense.
I thought they were going to switch out of it. I didn't know if they felt they didn't have time or what the case was.
Well, in any event, the extra speed allowed for great penetration as they stuffed that one behind the line of scrimmage.
6 yards is the pickup, and that'll lead to a 3rd down.
How about the timing on that one? Where they were in sync, weren't they? 3-step drop, balls out of his hands, right to the tight end. Nice completion, just like they do it in practice.
Cousins from the gun on 3rd. He's going to float this one deep right side. And incomplete. He can't hang on. Would have been a nice catch. Instead, it brings up a 4th down. Those passes out that far wide always make you hold your breath a little bit. Felt like it was in the air for a while.
What it does is it allows a defender to gain some ground, come from a long distance, and have a chance to affect the pass.
Oh, he takes it in, doesn't let it bounce. He takes it at the 2. 12 yards on the return that time. And the Dolphins' drive will start deep in their own territory with a 1st and 10. They'll start the drive with Drake. And a very short pickup there across the 15 to the 16. Andrew Sendejo in on the stop.
They tried a quick hitter inside, but that one was swallowed up because what they're hoping, those big defensive linemen will take the bait and move laterally and open up a crease that they can run through. Didn't happen on that play.
Manning going to throw. Finding room at the 30. That's caught by his big tight end, Mike Gesicki. And all the way up to the 31-yard line. His first catch, good for 16 and a first.
He's a rookie, and you don't want to get hung up on the word potential. But when you see him make catches like that, you keep thinking to yourself, he's good now. He's got a chance to be great with plenty of work.
On the give, this is Drake. Oh, he's got some breathing room. And now off to the races, down the right side. And all the way in for a Miami touchdown. Kenyon Drake, his third touchdown now on the year. And the Dolphins are in for 6. And on that long run, maybe the defense caught napping a little bit.
The concentration level may not have been there. I agree with you on that one, because those types of plays, when they result like that, they're almost like big bolts of lightning, aren't they? Whoosh, and off he goes.
This is taken about 7 yards deep. And no run back here. This will be a touchback, and it comes out to the 25-yard line. And now out comes Minnesota. You know, Charles, season winding down. Time to maybe look ahead to the offseason. What do you see these guys going after, either in the draft or free agency?
Well, with the season that they're having, just about every position is up for grabs right now. No one is really safe, but the focal point's always the quarterback position. And he may be auditioning to try and stay with his own current team. I think he's auditioning for the rest of the league to try and find a spot, because I think this team is looking for a new quarterback. Despite the blitz, they're still able to pick up a nice solid gain. The disadvantage of blitzing often alters the normal spacing and run fits and leaves creases like they were able to exploit right there.
They get 5 out of that one, and it moves the chains.
So many teams want to throw the ball in this situation nowadays, but I love watching a team that has enough confidence to go ahead and run the football in that situation. That's almost a tendency breaker.
First down, here's Cousins. He couldn't quite hold it. Got hit. Ball pops out, incomplete.
That would have been a great catch, but it was real difficult to hold on to it because it was contested all the way. Would have been a great play if he'd been able to haul that one in.
They'll try again from the 36 on 2nd and 10. On 2nd down, Cook stripped, the ball's out.
Wow, that ball gets knocked free, but a teammate comes along and scoops it up. It's almost like baseball. Guys at bat, people are on base in scoring position. One guy doesn't get him home. The next guy comes through and picks him up.
And avoids the turnover. The Vikings on 3rd down. Just 1 for 3 thus far. This is 3rd and 8. From the gun, here's Cousins. And this is going to be incomplete. Well, they've had a pretty frustrating first half here offensively, and then just continued there with that incompletion.
Yeah, definitely frustrating for them, but heartening for the other guys. Those stop troops, they're enjoying things right now because they've made it very difficult for them throughout the half.
Give them 11 yards that time on the return, and the offense will come back out deep in their own territory. Getting set to go again on offense, we get a peek at Julio Jones now. Second quarter here, he has only 1 catch, but they have the lead. You got to think there's going to be more involved at some point.
That's what you would expect, but sometimes what defenses do to take away a player of his magnitude, it costs them in other areas. And right now, with them losing, they may have to change their focus, and maybe he will open up a little bit more as the game goes on.
Yeah, well, so far, just the single catch. Play action, Manning. And he takes a shot on the release as this will be incomplete.
I think he had to unload that one before he wanted to. He was right up in his grill. I think he was a dentist there without a license, don't you?
Just not enough time for the play to develop. Just lucky it wasn't a fumble, really. Manning looking to throw on 3rd and 2. Rolling to his right. Incomplete. He had his hands on it but couldn't pick it. But it's now 4th down.
Not only was the call spot on, how about the execution of that defense right there? The zone was absolutely locked up tight. He was trying to force it in there on third down.
But if there's a time to force it, he felt like he needed to make a play, right?
Yeah, exactly right. Third down, you got to try and find something. There's nothing available there for him.
A curious decision to go for it, but it pays off with a first down.
I am shocked that they would go for it there. Talk about a gutty call. But that's all about having faith in your offensive line, and they come through there on fourth down.
A reminder, once we hit halftime, as we do all season, we'll send it down to Jonathan Coachman in Orlando. He'll have all the stats and scores from games in progress around the NFL.
The best multitasker in the business, the coach.
Now, meanwhile, a pass that should have been intercepted, but it winds up falling incomplete.
And that's one he's got to be happy to have back. There wasn't a hole open in the zone.
You'd have to think on early downs like that first down there, need to be a little bit more careful.
Yeah, fortunately for him, got a couple more downs to play with.
Caught on the right side by Jones. And he'll be taken down, but not before they work it across midfield. And now before this first down play, we're going to get a timeout here, as he'll get a chance to talk it over after picking up the first down. Now a handoff for Drake. And a pretty big hole as he's down to about the 40. 9 yards is the pickup there, and they'll have a 2nd and 1.
That play wasn't quite as big as the play that preceded it, but still, gotta like the way they're moving the football, partner.
Absolutely. Pretty good room to run on that last play.
Yeah, they didn't get a first down, but still, you'll take runs like that each and every time, won't you?
To throw is Manning. And this one's incomplete. Well, not to get too overcritical there because he knows what he's doing, but his shoulders looked a little off kilter there when he threw that.
I don't think you're being overly critical there. You're just analyzing it, and he gets those shoulders right. That pass will go from incomplete to complete.
Running, it's Drake. And he'll lose yardage here. Back at the 41. Losing 2 yards that time, and now it's 4th down.
Well, with the kind of half he's had, I think we can forgive him that run, right? Not every run's going to be a big play, is it?
No, and also the blocking just wasn't there. No room to run.
Yeah, defensively, they got to find a way to build on that because he's eating them alive in the first half.
Latavius Murray getting set to go again. Now, I'm not going to say you completely abandon the passing game, but it would really behoove them to get this running game going more.
That's the identity most teams are seeking. Able to establish themselves, control the game by running it, have to touch it multiple times in order to have success in this game.
And as we say, yeah, that's right. As we say all the time, that sets up the passing game. I feel like a broken record with that.
Listen, we can be broken records all we want. Bottom line is, lather up that big horse and let him run.
Cousins on first down. And an incomplete pass. That'll stop the clock here with just under a minute to play in half number 1.
It's been my observation there's been a nice variety of play calling defensively. You and I often talk about an offense's ability to keep a defense off balance with what they're doing. I think the converse has been true in this game.
Yeah, I think you're right. They seem to have gone off tendency quite a bit, but only the second quarter, a lot of time to change things. And now we won't see a play on first down. We're going to get a timeout instead, as they get the stoppage with a little over 50 seconds to go in the first half. On 1st and 10, Cousins. And it pops free. The collision there jarred the ball loose and brings up 2nd down.
Anytime a defense can sit back in a zone like that, it tends to create a lot of congestion in the middle of the field. Makes it very hard to slot one in.
Looked like I-4 at rush hour in your hometown of Orlando, Florida. An absolute mess. Cousins. Caught on the right side by Treadwell. And he'll be brought down right at the 45-yard line. And on 3rd and inches, we're going to get a whistle and a timeout, as they'll stop it with 40 seconds remaining in this first half. The offense on 3rd down tonight, they've only converted once in 4 tries. They're looking at 3rd in the nose of the football. They go play action. Cousins lets it fly for Thielen. That's caught inside the 20. And he'll be marked down deep on Miami's side of the field. They're able to convert on third down, and that sets up a 1st and goal.
Usually hitting a deep post pattern, as we just saw there for a big gainer, that's tough to do because you usually have a safety or two in the middle of the field. But if you hit enough crossers and underneath routes and curls, you start to get those guys creeping up wanting to make plays on the football. It's the equivalent of a changeup in baseball. You show your other stuff, throw the changeup, and on that play, it worked for big yardage.
Throwing, Cousins. And Thielens got it. Touchdown, Vikings. Adam Thielen, as the first half is winding down, and the Vikings are able to strike for 6.
And while that touchdown does not give them an insurmountable lead, it's still a lead, and that always feels good to a team.
They'd love to take that into the lockers, but a little time left on that clock, so some work to do.
I like that. I like how you're guarding against a letdown there.
Marty looking forward.
Coaching them up from right up here in the booth.
They had to go to the monitor, get an extra look. That's what the technology is for, and this touchdown will count. Extra point by Carlson, up and good. And the lead is now 14-10. This is fielded a couple yards deep. And this return net's positive as he gets past the 25 and up to the 27-yard line. Likely time for one final snap as they start out 1st and 10. They begin the drive with Williams. And able to stay on his feet past the 30 to about the 33-yard line. And with just 1 second remaining in the first half, they'll call the timeout. One final try now for Manning. He's going to air one out. And that is incomplete. So we've reached halftime here in Minnesota with the Vikings on top. As we send you down to Orlando where Jonathan Coachman has our EA Sports halftime report. All right, hang on. We'll jump over halftime. The Vikings have to like their position. They've got the lead. They get this football as well as we are back and underway for the second half. That'll be taken in the end zone. And no run back here. This will be a touchback, and it comes out to the 25-yard line. Out come the Vikings. They'll have it first on offense as we begin the third. They have the lead. Now they'll be looking for some separation here as we begin the third quarter.
I like the way you term that because now I think they go a little bit deeper into their playbook. They like what they did in the first half. That worked okay. But in order to get the separation that you just talked about, change things up a little bit. Change your tendencies. Try and hit them a little bit more with some things they didn't see in the first half.
We'll see if they do just that. A second down throw for Cousins. And some room to work. But he will bring it back. It's a pick six and a Dolphins touchdown.
Now that was a beautiful play. A pick six. How would you punctuate something like that, partner?
What do you mean, with an exclamation mark?
Exclamation mark, a big word. What would you do with that?
Ampersand?
I like it.
Extra point up and good by Sanders. And it's now 17-14. That's fielded in the end zone. And no run back here. This will be a touchback, and it comes out to the 25-yard line. Cousins and the Vikings with a 1st and 10 at their own 25-yard line. Trying to fire up that running game with Dalvin Cook. And able to stay on his feet past the 30 to about the 33-yard line. 8 yards on the pickup, and now they'll have some options on second and short.
first play of the drive. Let's give credit all around. Excellent blocking, but the guy carrying the ball, he was the finisher. A really nice run.
Again, it's Cook. And able to get this one across the 45 before he's brought down. And a nice carry there of 15 yards.
It looks way too easy right now. 2 carries, 2 straight first down runs. The eyes are carrying the legs to the proper hole, but they're being created by an offensive line that has the leverage game going for them right now. Lower than the defensive front, creating space, and he's finding it in a big way. Gotta love what they're doing on offense right now. They tried a quick hitter inside, but that one was swallowed up because what they're hoping, those big defensive linemen will take the bait and move laterally and open up a crease that they can run through. Didn't happen on that play.
He went backwards 7 yards, setting up a tough third down. The Vikings on third down, 2 for 5 to this point. This is 3rd and 16. From the shotgun, it's Cousins. And incomplete. The contact made the ball roam free and brings up 4th down.
The beauty of being able to play a zone defense when you can sit back and see the ball coming out of the quarterback's hands, guess what? Creates a lot of confusion, kind of a muddle in the middle of the field where you can go make a play on the football.
A great return there of 22 yards. And out will come the offense as they take over. So now here come the Dolphins. They have the lead. Now they'll be looking to extend that lead.
And this is where I enjoy talking about one of my favorite subjects, tendency breakers, or counters as I also like to call them. You've done things in a certain way.
Pressure coming from the Vikings, and they get there and bring him down. Eric Kendricks coming on the blitz. He gets him for a loss of 7.
The amount of sacks that they've absorbed in this game is absolutely extraordinary. Let's just face it. This offensive line, flat out, cannot handle this pass rush. It's been demonstrated time and time again.
He's going to fire one deep over the middle. But he almost had it defensively. Could have been a game changer there in this second half. Instead, it's 3rd down.
I know exactly why I tried to throw the ball to Julio Jones there. He's never considered cover. He's either too fast or too strong. You always try and get it to him.
Especially on those deep passes. It's complete to Grant. And mark him down way up close to the 40 at the 39. His first catch, and it's a pretty big one. They get the conversion on 3rd down.
I think it all came together there. In-breaking route, drove it with excellent pace. Money throw right there to move the sticks.
First carry for Frank Gore, the newest and oldest Dolphin. Nowhere to go that time. He maybe got a yard up to the 40.
Typically, we think it's the strong safeties that are better tacklers, especially closer to the line of scrimmage amidst traffic. But in this case, how about the free safety coming up and making the big-time play?
He's going to fire one deep, and that's caught inside the 30. And he goes down, but not before getting this inside the 25. That one goes for 36 yards.
There will always be a place for methodically marching the ball downfield. But when you can pick it up in big chunks and strike like that, have explosive plays, that's often the difference in winning and losing. Those types of plays that can knock a defense off balance, that'll drive a team towards a victory.
They'll wind up losing a yard on the play, and that'll bring up a 2nd and 11.
I know when I was a kid, I always got real excited when I saw those lateral-type runs. But the best backs that made it happen, they put a foot in the ground and just go. That didn't happen there. That play got swallowed up.
And he fires one incomplete.
So many qualities coaches tick off when they talk about, hey, what is it going to take to make an excellent quarterback? Accuracy has to rank near the top of every list.
Talk about arm strength, that's great. Mobility, great. But you need that accuracy in there. That one well in front of his man.
Yeah, now they got to face a big 3rd down.
Now Manning. He dropped it. Couldn't hang on in the end zone. So no 6 points, incomplete.
That's a good job there creating the contact to force the incompletion. And now since it's 4th down, that should set up a field goal situation.
And a nice sigh of relief defensively to be able to hold them to 3. So out comes a field goal team now for the second time here today. He connected on his first, this from 41. Oh, and Sanders pushed it to the right. No good. And this score will stay right where it is. So it's an empty trip downfield there as they get a missed field goal on 4th down.
And I didn't see anything in the setup. It's a good snap, good hold.
Yep.
He just pushed it, and that one never wanted to come back.
And now out comes Minnesota. These guys had to punt their last possession, and that's become too familiar of a rain. Too many of these drives just wound up going nowhere.
But you know how in baseball, when the pitcher gets a base hit and he's on base, they bring his jacket out to him to keep him warm? A lot of times the punter goes to the sideline, puts on sweatpants or a wrap over his leg to keep it warm. He might need a massage from the trainer right now from all the work he's getting.
They start the drive with Cook. And he slips up past the 45 before being tackled. That play going for 16 yards to start the drive. First down.
It's really come into vogue to talk about the different gaps that the defense tries to attack in an offensive line. And most of the time we're talking about blitzes. How many times have you heard double A-gap blitz? But where is the A-gap? It's the space between the center and the guards, either side. So when you're having a double A-gap blitz, that's two guys coming through that gap. In this situation, though, that A-gap wasn't open for the defense to exploit. The offensive line took care of it, protected it, and moved the defensive guys out of the way to allow for that nice run.
Second down, Cousins. And complete. Right side, the tight end Rudolph. And he'll get it down to the 47 here. That catch good for only a yard, and it'll be 3rd down.
Well, they're unable to convert that into much, but it's never a bad idea to try to get the ball into a tight end of his caliber's hands and see what kind of disruption he can cause.
Play fake. Cousins. Open man is Thielen. It's complete. 70th catch for him on the year. Like so many others, this goes for a first down.
Hey, we talked about Adam Thielen a little bit last year, didn't we? Possession receiver, makes some tough catches, gets it done, and he's a homeboy. Grew up very close to the top.
And he loses the football a second time. So it goes as a fumble, but the key thing, not a fumble loss.
Yeah, that stat's big, isn't it? I mean, I remember watching teams play. The ball might be on the ground a number of times during the game, but the other team doesn't get it.
Under a heavy rush, and down he goes. Cameron Wake, he's the one to get him, and that's sack number 7 for him on the year.
That's his second sack of the game, and the best defensive ends, they do their homework as much as offensive guys do. They know how to beat the offensive lineman across from them, what moves they need to do to set them up. This guy's been pretty good at it all game long.
Got him, man, it's right. And they're able to get this one past the 30 to the 25-yard line. His first catch, and it's a pretty big one. They get the conversion on 3rd down.
But it appears that they read man defense and went to the out route, and what you have to do on that one is the receiver's got to make sure he works the defender towards the middle of the field to give himself space to cut to the outside and have that ball delivered with good timing, and they got it done.
Throwing on 1st down, but this one winds up to be incomplete.
I hope I don't sound too rah-rah on that one, but that's the exact right throw. Either your receiver gets it or no one gets it. Give him a lot of credit for being really precise with it.
Got rid of it. No one got it. Call it no gain on the run there, and now they'll be looking at a 3rd down. Looked like he was trying to bounce it outside, but no success.
Yeah, sometimes you got to just figure out where you're going to go, and sometimes you just have to take it to another spot. In trying to get it outside, the defensive pursuit was there and just ran him down.
We're off to the 4th quarter here in Week 15. Happy holidays to all. We'll return with more after this break. You're watching the NFL on EA Sports. And we return, welcoming you back to Minneapolis. Big play coming up. Here's 3rd and 10.
I would expect to see some pressure here.
The pressure drops off as they'll look to throw. He's got the connection over the middle to Diggs. And they'll bring him down at the 18-yard line. They get 7 there, but it brings up 4th.
One thing you're hoping for when you run drag routes, You're able to hit a receiver in stride, and he can pick up a lot of yardage after the catch. But in this situation, the defense was effective, able to stop him before he get a good head of steam going.
I tell you, the life of a kicker. He has not been called on the entire game. He's over there by the net, but they send him out here in the fourth quarter and say, hey, go tie the game, will you? And guess what? He comes through.
I just don't know how they do it. I really don't. These cats are a different breed from you and me. That's a pressure kick, but that one was never in doubt.
So the Dolphins offense heading out as we give you a look at the playoff race in the AFC. And it's right about this time of year you start to say this is when the cream rises to the top. Week 15, 3 weeks left to go, but still plenty to be determined.
And I think for most teams, the obvious is to try and be the number 1 or number 2 seed. But when you look at it across the league and throughout the history of trying to get to the Super Bowl, the teams you really fear are the ones that get hot and sometimes sneak in at a 5 or a 6 seed, because we've seen those teams actually get to the Super Bowl and occasionally win it.
Yeah, you think of the Giants a couple of times. Steelers have done it. You're right. It has happened and will happen more in the future, I'm sure. 11 yards there as they connect on the quick slant. Tell you what, he's been able to put the ball in some tight spots all game long. That throw, no different.
Yeah, a lot of people would call it a gutsy type of a throw. I think he looks at it as, I can do it, so it's not that big of a deal to me, and I'm going to keep firing.
They'll run with Drake. And a good burst there gets him 7 up to midfield.
Oh, that's one to warm the hearts of all those old school football players, isn't it? Tough, hard, gritty run, got behind his pads, bowled over a few people. Look at that one, right up the gut.
Saw it through 3 quarters, no reason to lighten up now. They stay on the ground this time. It's Williams. And he's got it across the midfield stripe and into Viking territory. Sheldon Richardson there to make the play.
What an advantage having an elite guy in the middle of the defensive line, because not only does he take up the space and let the linebackers run free, but he can also make plays himself, as we just saw there.
On 3rd and short, Drake. It's a gain of 4 there, and it gives him a new set of downs.
And that last carry puts him right at 100 yards for the game. So how has he done it? Because he's been patient, followed his blocks, let everything develop, and then burst through for big gains.
On 1st and 10, here's Manning. Oh, he's got a man wide open, complete. And he gets this one inside the 15, just a yard or 2 shy of the 10. A gain of 32 that time.
If the post pattern is often equated as a change-up route, how about when you throw it to your big guy down the center of the field? Covered or not, you have great confidence he's going to come down with the football. And when he does, as we just saw, long gains often result.
Oh, and it's incomplete. That would have been big in the end zone if he could have held on. Instead, it's 2nd down.
Quarterbacking 101. Never force the ball into double coverage, especially not this close to the goal line. The windows are so tight, you just don't want to force it in there because it could be tipped up and picked off.
Manning will try again on 2nd down. And they're going to get him. They bring him down to the sack back at the 16-yard line. Daniil Hunter in there to drop him for his 5th sack of the year. They've been moving the ball well offensively, really getting into a groove. Last play, pass completion. Now, finally, the defense gets there.
And you have to find a way to disrupt their rhythm. Do you do it with coverage, or do you do it with pressure? They elected to go with pressure, and it was the right call.
Have to kick this field goal, don't you?
No question about it. Look at the clock. Look at the situation. Kick the field goal.
The kick by Sanders is good. And the Dolphins have taken the lead here in the 4th. So the drive here ends with a field goal. It does give them the lead, but this one's still certainly a long ways from over.
It definitely puts a lot of pressure on your defense to hold the lead, right? They're happy to have it and happy to be out there trying to do so. But I know as a former player, in the back of their mind, they're thinking, why don't you score the touchdown and seal this thing?
Now the Minnesota offense set to take over again. And last time able to get 3. It's not what they wanted. They wanted 6, but they got at least something. They mustered something out of the drive.
They'll take it. I like the way you've described it. Not ideal, but they'll take it.
And Stephon Diggs, 20, 10, touchdown, Vikings. Kirk Cousins with 3 touchdown passes now in the afternoon. And the Vikings have taken the lead here in the 4th quarter. And correct me if I'm wrong, that was just a simple fly route, wasn't it?
No, there's nothing to correct at all. You've got it down pat. And I just remember as a player, when I'd be in practice sessions, and I'd hear 9 from the receivers, that meant fly route, go, look out. That was the 9, and he just kept going all the way into the end zone for the touchdown.
And he'll bring it a few past the 20 to the 23-yard line. Out comes the Miami offensive unit now. They get set to take over. On first down, Madden. This is Shepard on the catch. Wow, evasive.
Make a miss.
And he's brought down after a very nice gain. A very solid gain of 27. Defensively, they just lost him. He was waving his arms saying, I'm wide open. They found it.
Yeah, and it's so interesting about when a receiver starts to wave his arms because some guys, right off the line of scrimmage, they declare themselves open. You know, those guys throw the one arm up, hit me right now. In this case, he was so wide open that he was frantically trying to get his attention to make sure he got the football. And then I'm sure his only thought when the ball was in the air, don't drop it. Had too much time to think. It's easy to see when we review this that the ball needs to come out quicker because if you don't throw it right on the break, you bring a crowd of people into the equation.
And that's why it got knocked away there. On second down, Williams. And that play going absolutely nowhere as he's belted before he could get out of the backfield. It'll go as a loss of a yard, and it'll set up third down.
He continues to struggle to find a crease to break off a big one and might need to just put that aside and just try and ram his way forward and get what he can.
Throwing is Manning on third down. It's caught. Jones. And he'll go down, but not before getting this inside the 30. And is that Jones, the one slow to get up? Yes, Julio's still down right now. While the trainers take a look, we'll step aside. From Viking territory now, they'll come up 1st and 10 as they're down to the 29-yard line. Shotgun now for Manning. His throw incomplete.
The positioning here is key. As a defensive back, you're taught 99% of the time, make a play on the football. But in this case, making a play on the man was all the difference. That's what forced the incompletion.
Here's 2nd and 10 now from the 29. Back to the air on 2nd down. It's Manning. The Vikings after him, and they get there for the sack. Danielle Hunter in there to get him, and that's sack number 6 for him on the year.
This has been a tough one for this offensive line. It appears almost like they've been on roller skates this entire game, the way they've been pushed around. 6 sacks given up in this one.
And he's going to go down again. Everson Griffin in there to get him, and that's sack number 8 for him on the year.
This offensive line flat out cannot handle this pass rush. We've seen it demonstrated time and time again to the tune of 7 sacks in this game thus far.
Time for a break. We're back to see what happens after this. Down 4 late. Got to go for it here on 4th down. Now Manning, got to have this one. He's going to let it fly. And that's going to wind up incomplete. However, we do have a flag down. Let's check in with our referee.
Pass interference. Defense.
So the defense helping him out a little bit here late in the fourth.
Man, you're exactly right. And when you're the one doing the chasing, you'll take a little help from the other guys, won't you?
Only way to get the lead here, of course, with a touchdown. And that's what they're gunning for on 1st and goal. Back to throw. Flushed out right. And he can't get a throw away. He's taken down.
That I'm struggling to understand a little bit. That close to the goal line, first down, run the football. If you want to throw it, throw some play action on 2nd down.
And before this 2nd down play, we'll get a whistle, a signal, and a timeout, as they'll talk things over prior to this upcoming 2nd down play. 2nd and goal from the 6 this time. He'll get it up the middle. Call it a gain of 2 as they're knocking on the door now. 3rd and goal.
I know a lot of people won't like the draw called in that situation, but every now and then that pops big. In this case, it didn't happen.
Back to throw. He'll wind up getting 4 yards there on his own, but it also brings up 4th down.
I liked his effort there. He got it done on his own. But let's face it, he puts defenses in a really stressful spot when he takes off and runs, because a lot of guys have coverage responsibilities.
Good job of rounding, though, because I thought when he first took off, he might pick up the 1st down. Likely the play of the game here, trailing in the final quarter and going for it on 4th and goal. Here we go. It's Gore. He takes it across for the touchdown, and they've taken the lead late in the final minute of the 4th.
Wow. 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 I know it's a never-say-never situation, but to me, that looks like that's the one that's going to finish them off.
The score that puts them in front here late, but now you got to rally your kick team, don't you, and say the last thing we need is a big return.
And what happens is guys get overeager, get out of their lane because they're so excited they want to make the last tackle. You mess up, could come back at you a long way.
And with time a factor here late, he'll just take a knee, and they'll start things out at the 25. Kirk Cousins now gearing up to lead this offense back out there. This is something we've seen many times over the course of his career. Can he pull off another 4th quarter comeback?
And it's very strange, isn't it? Because when it's a player of this magnitude, even though the guys on defense have the lead and are sitting in the best spot, they're maybe the most nervous people in the stadium because they've seen this happen to too many people before, too many teams. They've got to find a way to shut him down.
Here we go again for the grizzled vet. Line of scrimmage, again the 25, 2nd and 10. They'll look to throw. And he can't get a throw off. He's taken down. What a huge play at this point in the game. The Vikings going to signal for the first of their timeouts, as they'll stop him with a little over 30 ticks to go in the football game. He's back to throw. And he can't get a throw away. He's taken down. And now before they run this 4th down play, we're going to get a timeout, as they'll stop it with 25 ticks remaining on the clock. 1 score down. Here we go. They're going to go for it here on 4th down. As expected, they're going for it to keep the drive alive. And no, it's incomplete. They had to go for it with such little time remaining, and it's looking like the Dolphins are going to win the football game. So instead of the incredibly obvious choice of trying to punt it out near midfield, now they left their defense with no margin for error.
No, zero. And I don't care how much confidence you have in your defense. I don't care if you say, hey, I'm going to be aggressive because those guys can pick me up. You really put them in an impossible situation because at the least, you're giving up 3 in that situation, right? So I would have punted the ball out of there and given them a little bit of a cushion.
2nd and goal from inside the 5. They'll give it to him up the middle. And he'll go backwards, losing yardage to the 5. That'll be a loss of a yard, and it leads to a 3rd down.
His path became similar to almost running a stretch play, didn't it? Trying to find a crease, anywhere to put his foot in the ground and cut back. It just never materialized.
A lot of scoring. There's no doubt about that in this one, Charles. Points, they were not at a premium. They were pretty easy to come by.
They were, but it was fun, wasn't it? Because both teams finding ways to click. And you know people who love this game, they also love baseball games that are 14-11 with 3 or 4 home runs mixed in.
So for the Dolphins, they continue to roll as the win gets them to 12-2 on the year. And they'll return home next week to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Meanwhile, for the Vikings, their slim playoff hopes